Hey guys, welcome back to the Otter Creek in Rio Grande, and I'm gonna get started on the backdrop. And it's gonna be a valley scene, I hope. Now, I've got a picture that I'm looking at for inspiration. I don't want to show it yet because I don't want anybody's expectations to be something that I'm not going to be able to follow through with. But I've got something I am looking at that's pretty specific. And now I do have a pencil drawing kind of already in place right here. I've got this spot marked as kind of the high point of what I want, which is just a little bit lower than there. I hope that works. That's kind of what I'm wanting. And I don't think that you guys are going to be able to see my pencil work unless I do it really dark. I don't want to do it really dark because I want to be able to make corrections and paint over it, but I am going to focus a lot on the pencil drawing here to begin with. So I don't know how much of that you're going to be able to see, but I am going to get started and we'll see how this proceeds. Well, I've got a lot of the pencil work done, and again, I don't think you guys can see any of it. So I think, because I can't really see it either, if I step back from 3 or 4 feet away, I can kind of see it, but I'd like to see it a little bit better. I may go in with a thinned down burnt umber just to kind of help me see what's going on. I don't know yet. I'm going to think about it just a little more because there's a few more things in here I'd like to put in. The trick of this is going to be looking down and not straight out, which that's going to involve color more than anything else. Color and making sure that you've got the right lines everywhere. And even though I'm looking at the picture, can I see the lines in the picture and then convey them where they need to be on the actual wall? So I know, we'll see. What I'm doing right now is just tracing over my pencil marks. Trying to get the lay of the land. Got the tops of the trees blocked in a few places, and I'm trying to just make sure that I've got kind of the area of where the land is going to be. Like this area through here is grass, and a lot of this area through here is grass. Now, concerning this over here, my reference photo, the light is coming from the left. So all of this is just virtually black. So this is probably going to be the thing that I struggle with the most because there's just not a lot of reference to look at. So I'll probably have to find something similar that, I can use to add detail and interest in. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a road that goes through here. The valley kind of ends right here somewhere, and I probably didn't do a very good job of conveying that, but it actually it's obscured by a tree line and kind of starts right in here. And then the idea is that your eye goes this direction, following it out, and then the road connects with the depression, because the trees, you know, I don't know exactly where the photo is. I presume that there is a river that runs through here somewhere that you can't see on this side of the road. And like maybe right in here, the trees are obscuring where the river is. I don't know, that's kind of my thought on it anyway. I think the next thing that probably needs to happen is figure out how high do I go up with the sky. And I'm thinking 18 to 24 inches. The skyline kind of needs to be right through here, pretty obvious. It's a little lower on this side than it is on this side. I think it'll work though. I've got the sky put in for the most part. It's still drying down. I use that extender on it, and it does make it a lot, it adds a lot more drying time. As far as I know, it will be flat. I used it before, so I'm pretty sure it'll be flat. There's a few places in here, like right through here, that, you know, I'm running downhill instead of straight across, which I guess that'll be okay. I might change it later. I don't think I'm going to put any dynamic clouds in it. I'm not a fan of them. I think dynamic clouds should be moving, and so therefore that might just draw your eye a little more than you want them to. I have gone in and put a distant hill back here, which I think that's too dark. At least right now it is. You can't really tell until you get other colors in. But, you know, I think the next thing is going to be starting in here, which is going to be a challenge. I'm going to have to watch some videos because this should be in shadow unless I change the perspective of the sun. But I think that would be more difficult if I did, because that kind of will change how I look at my inspiration picture. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I like the shapes. We won't know how good or how bad it will truly be until I start pushing color in. I don't hate it, but if you're someone who understands how this is supposed to work, you can see that my color is kind of all over the place. Schizophrenic might be a word you would use, and really everything is too bold. I didn't do a good job of introducing enough atmosphere, you know, towards the back of the painting to convey distance. So I'm going to try and correct that. You can kind of see here where, you know, I have the right idea here, but then here, which is further than there, is darker. You know, and a lot of what I was doing through here was trying to get the shapes that I want, because, you know, if you don't have the right shapes, then, you know, it twists your eye in a way that just tells you something's wrong. And there is a little bit of that going on as well. You know, like this space, you know, you can't, it just looks like a square blob at the moment because my brush calligraphy is just not right to convey any kind of downhill slope, you know, because that's supposed to be what it's supposed to be, you know, according to my reference material. Same thing is kind of going on in here, where there's supposed to be a little bit of downhill movement into this area. Didn't do a good job there. And then this shape, this developed as I was painting it and isn't in the picture at all. And I kind of ran with it after looking at it for a few hours, and it's literally the next day now. I really dislike it, so I need to figure out something there. And then, obviously I've got various different, what's the word I'm looking for, variations of the color. I've got to figure that out. Now everything's dried, I can go back in and hopefully move the color to where I want it to be. But in some of these locations, like right here, I'm going to paint in bigger trees right here, so I'm not too concerned about this. I will also probably have real 3D trees through here. Same thing here, there will be some more trees in this area, 3D trees. And same thing here. There's going to be some foreground trees in a lot of these areas that will help hopefully push the painting back. But that's where I'm at the moment. I'm going to do a little more work on it. I figure I'll work on it maybe 4 more hours and see what it looks like, and then maybe give up. We'll see. As you can see, I've made some changes. I did another 2 or 3 different passes, and again, I'm happy with the overall shape. You can see here, what used to be that great big ugly valley that didn't work there. As I painted that out, I saw a river, and there's still something wrong with it because it ends at the horizon line, which can't happen. So I either need to bring this mountain into the river and have the river disappear going that way, or I may just continue this tree line all the way down to here, because that's actually what takes place in the photograph. Other things I've done is I've put in some horizontals here, which kind of brings this whole mountaintop up. And, I've got some horizontals or some verticals kind of coming this way to convey a little bit of downhill motion towards this. And, I've done a little better job in here of bringing those things where they should be. Still not there. I guess I'll go ahead and show the photograph now. And I think, if you've been paying attention, you've seen this a few times in the video up to this point. And so you can see what I was talking about through here. There's no detail here. And, trying to get this as one plane, and then a downhill slope here, and then there's another plane here. All of that in there is kind of difficult to do for me because, it's all about color, right? It's about the color. You got the light struck plane here and then a receding plane. There's a little bit of a light struck plane there, and the same thing here. And getting that color right, and then your strokes in the correct direction is a challenge, and I'm just not good at that yet. Now, as far as the mountain goes, you can see virtually no detail here at all. And what detail you can pick out is really all trees. And I didn't really want the trees because I didn't think I could do a good job of making them, but I don't know. Where I'm at now, I think, is, once again, I haven't done a very good job of conveying distance out here as compared to here. Now, a lot of that will change when I put my larger trees in here that will be a deep pine, almost black color, so that if I put some trees in front of it, it'll kind of push everything back further. But, you know, I need to create details, at least in this area right in here, that brings this part of the picture closer, and then will help push the rest of this back a little bit further. I've got to put some detail work in there, which brings me to where I'm at now. What's going on is I made a decision that if I'm going to put detail work in here, it has to match the coloring in here. And as you may notice, I decided, well, I need to paint this before I paint that. That's kind of where I'm at. And I got started on this, and then that led to getting started on the rest of this. And I got in a zone and I just completed all of the plaster work here on the workbench. You know, what I'm now calling a finger rock pass. I painted this in. I've got a lot of work to do. And the problem, I don't want to start my painting here because I don't know how that's going to work. And this is so obvious and so in your face. I want to see about being able to match the foam coloring that's going to be painted white with the Sculptamold, which is going to absorb the washes far more readily than this will. How well can I match those two colors side by side? So I want to start, I'll move the camera. I want to start with that, I think right here, because a lot of this will be obscured, you know, through other detail work. So I think starting, you know, maybe 3 or 4 inches right in here and working these two sections just to see how that works should be the first thing I do. And I think what that means for this video, because, you know, what's going on is I'm colliding projects, and I can't really continue with the painting until I get this. At least I don't want to. I could, but I'm not going to. So therefore, I kind of have to stop the backdrop painting and start work somewhere else. So I think I'm going to call this a part 1 and return to it. And, you know, the next time I'm ready to paint on the backdrop, I'll bring you guys with me. So one thing I'm going to do in closing here is, because I haven't tested a locomotive through here, I'm going to bring the 482 through here and make sure that I didn't change any of my tolerances. I don't think I did. I paid real close attention in the areas that was really close. I should be good to go, but I think that's a good way to end this video, and thanks for watching, guys.